Welcome back to the DeCesare Group Podcast. I'm your host, Jim DeCesare, and I'm glad you're here. You know, summer is officially underway, and who better to talk to than Carl Chaney, the man behind Chaney's Dairy Barn, a cornerstone in the South Central Kentucky community. Chaney's has a long history dating back to the 1940s when James Chaney started milking Jersey cows on the family farm. In 2003, Chaney's Dairy Farm was established, offering premium ice cream and a commitment to community engagement. Last year, Chaney's completed a 10,000-foot expansion that included a 50-seat dining room and 10 new jobs and a whole bunch more. It's truly one of the most popular and tastiest attractions in Warren County. Here's my conversation with Carl Chaney. Carl, thanks for being on the DeCesare Group Podcast. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, or I just say I'm here. You know, just tell me where I got to be next, and I'll make it happen.
Well, I'm sure Debra does that, and gives you your
Debra
instructions every morning.
Debra keeps me straight. She does.
Well, we all need that person in our life, too.
We do, for sure, sure.
And like me, you married up, and we're better men for it.
Absolutely, that's for sure.
Well, let's talk about Chaney's Dairy Barn and the Chaney Dairy Farm. You know, y'all just had a recent expansion. How's that enhanced the farm experience for visitors, especially the addition of the farm tours?
Yeah, I mean, the new addition is we wanted to start it the year of COVID. Mm-hmm. But I guess we were just like, maybe we better wait and see what's going to happen with what's going on here. You know, we had to, like most other businesses, we had to shut the doors. Yeah. And, you know, and people had to stand outside and order or do whatever they did. And you know, we were so tickled to death how people continued to support us. Yeah. That was fantastic. We weren't able to do the farm tours like we usually do, but people still supported us. And then when we finally decided, okay, let's go ahead and do this, to be honest with you, we went to the kids and we said, kids, you know, are we crazy to do this? I mean, look at the area. Yeah. I mean, it's just blowing up. Yeah. All of this fantastic farm ground now is in houses. Mm-hmm. And we were like, what are we going to do? Because we're getting busier and busier. And we feel like we need to either enlarge or maybe we need to even shut it down. And the kids were like, no, we can't shut it down. We probably need to build on. Yeah. And so we took about 6 or 9 months of really trying to put together how we wanted things. And the 6 to 9 months that we worked on it, but we've been looking at it for probably 6 years. Yeah. So we had the ideas in place of what we wanted to do to enhance the customer experience and, you know, how we could do that, how we could best do that. And so we finally got started building. It was, I think, December of 23. And then we finished in probably September of 24. Yeah. Took almost a year. Man, that was a long year.
I bet.
And we are so tickled to death with the finished product.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks awesome.
Well, thank you. It got to the point in the dairy barn is where we would be so busy and people would come in and it's like, where's all these people going to go? You know, you'd have lines out the door for ice cream and for food. And so now we've really got it set up where I think to where the customer experience is going to be better. Yeah. And now we have got to learn how to handle this new area and how best to do it. So there's kind of a learning curve that we've got there, and we're going to continue to work on it, and we're going to get better and better and better. And the ice cream area, I love it. Joanna, one of our managers, has been with us for 15 years. Mm-hmm. She kind of was one of the ideas that came up with putting it in a V shape, right? And having 4 dipping cabinets and having 2 on one side, 2 on the other. And both sides have the same ice cream so that we can run people through quicker. Yeah. And I think that does enhance the good time that they have there, because now they can go sit on the back porch. And now we got a bigger back porch, or you can go into the silo. We're hoping to do some things in the silo to get some things there. A bigger dining area. We would have motor coaches come in, and there was no place for them to sit.
Like Buc-ee's.
Not quite. We're not there yet. But it. I mean, you'd have these motor coaches come in and like, they can't sit together. Some of them might have to go upstairs.
Yeah.
And so now we've got the dining area where we can shut it off when we know that there's a group coming, and then they can go into it. So it's just, we're tickled to death with it. We've just got to now learn to manage it.
Yeah. It's really neat, especially as you mentioned, the V. It's so efficient. And we've been there a few times since you've opened up the new part. And what's really cool is the tractor there at the front of the V.
That was Debra's idea.
Was it?
Let's get that out there. That was Debra's idea. Carl wanted to put the cow on a statue up above everybody, but Debra was like, I want a tractor. So, what Debra wants, Debra gets.
Yeah.
And the story on that tractor is Mr. Neil Dillard had that out in one of his equipment piles. And Debra and James Robert Stahl, Debra's brother, they saw it and they had a vision. Carl did not see that vision.
Right.
When I saw that lump of metal sitting there, and James Robert and Mr. Dillard, they sandblasted it. They put a lot of time into it and made it look like. And then my son James, of course, he did the welding stuff up underneath it for the frame, and
it's got the logo and
it's got the logo. He does.
Yeah,
and so it's just a nice. Again, when we were doing this, our focus is on agriculture.
Right.
To us, that is extremely important. And so we were trying to look at ways to enhance the agricultural experience.
Yeah, it's just awesome seeing that. It's those little touches that make the difference. Now, make sure you keep air in the tires.
Yeah, well, they're new tires. They better keep air in it.
So you talked about the agricultural experience, and I know you all have been open 21 years now.
Hey man, that's about right. October of 2003. You do the math.
22, almost 22
almost
years.
22. The end of this year.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I think I met you in early 04, and y'all had just been open a little while.
You know what that means?
Yeah, we're
Time
getting old.
flies when you've lost your mind.
Yeah. But one of the great things that you have always done with Chaney's Dairy Barn is you tried to incorporate educational opportunities within it and educational experiences like the farm tours. Highlight the importance of ag in our community, because it is an economic development driver. And we talk about that a lot on this podcast.
It's absolutely huge. Everybody thinks, well, you got all the farms and everything, and we're losing a lot of farms. But when you look at the numbers, agriculture is way up there in the local, the way it runs the things.
Yeah.
And so of course, we're in the business.
Right.
We're in the business of agriculture, and we think that it's terribly important. I still feel like the United States is one of the greatest countries in the world, and the reason we are because we can feed ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't, but we have a surplus, and that's because farmers work every day, not 7 days a week, every day, 365 days a year, to try to make sure that everybody has food on their plate.
Yeah.
And even not just here in the United States, but all of the food that is exported overseas. That even helps our balance of trade. So, with us having a dairy farm, and I hate it, but we're losing dairies right and left. Just think about it. In 2000, there were 2,100 dairy farms in the state of Kentucky. We just dropped below 350.
Wow.
And that average dairy farm used to be around 75 cows. Now it's probably over, I guess, 200 to 300. And we're just losing the dairies right and left. And there's not a lot of young people coming into it now. I'm fourth generation. Our kids are fifth generation, and grandkids are sixth generation. And Dory, she's helping me there on the farm. I couldn't do it without Dory. And a young lady named Maggie who's really helping us right now down at the farm. And we're just blessed to have good help and great kids.
Yeah. So talk about the educational part of the tours and what your goal is, especially, we were talking before we started the podcast. You had a group come in today from Grayson County, and it's not just, they're not just coming to get ice cream. You want them to get more out of it than ice cream.
Absolutely. We've had some teachers that have been coming 16 straight years.
Wow.
Because they bring a new class every year. Because not only are you getting to see agriculture in place, but also all the new technology now. Like we have a robot that milks our cows, which is absolutely crazy. Dad passed away before we got that robot. I would have loved for him to be able to see the robot, because I think that is something that he would have absolutely loved. Just think, he started in 1940 milking 2 cows by hand, and by 48 he was milking 14 cows by hand, and that's when he got electricity on the farm. And in 62 he built a barn, and we milked in that barn for 54 years.
Wow. Twice
a day, every day. And now we got the robot, and the average consumer today does not know exactly what agriculture is, and so that's why we feel like that it's very important. I think I saw a thing the other day where the average consumer is 4 to 5 generations removed from the farm. So when they see something come across on Facebook, well, it must be true.
Yeah.
Well, come on out to the farm, see exactly how we take care of the cows. See, my wife Debra's like, sometimes you take better care of the cows than you take care of me. And I'm like, well, I'd like to argue with that, but, Debra and I are coming up on 50 years, January the 17th, so I try not to argue too much with Debra.
Yeah, you're not going to win.
I'm not going to.
You're not going to win. But I've seen the robot in action, and it's amazing because of the technology that's involved with that. I mean, that cow goes up to that robot. The robot knows who that cow is
by the collar that's around her neck.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it knows how much it can produce and how much it has produced, and and I'm that's all I know. Because you have educated me on this, and that's one of the great things. You're never too old to learn about the farm either.
But it's like the kids today. I was talking to the group, and there was one kid says. And I think he was kidding. I hope he was. And he goes like, he had a question. I said, what's your question? And he goes, milk. And I said, yeah. He said, milk comes from Kroger's. And I'm like, yeah. But where do you think Kroger's got it?
Yeah.
You think they got a bunch of cows running around back there? And I said, no. I said, it comes from cows just like these on farms all across the state, all across the United States. So that's where that milk comes from. And without these cows, Kroger's doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So again, that was a cool time.
It is, and I know when you started Chaney's Dairy Barn, it was you were diversifying.
Absolutely.
And you went up to Penn State.
Yep.
And learned how to make ice cream.
Yes, sir.
Tell us that story.
Well, I went to the bank, and I know the bank, Rick Tingle down at Franklin Bank and Trust. Good fellow, and my accountant, Rush Midkiff, and Rush and I was putting figures together and everything, and we started talking about one of the ways that we had to show them we were serious about making ice cream, because you come up to somebody and they said, "What are you building?" "I'm building a place to make ice cream." And they're like, "No, really, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
and so Debra and I felt like that Penn State ice cream course, it was the 111th year they'd held the course. Wow. And there was over 100 people in the class. And, man, I go in there, and I feel like I am so out of place. You're at the Nittany Lion Inn. You've got all of these. The place is so fancy.
Yeah.
But Dr. Roberts, fantastic guy. And he just starts talking about ice cream, and everybody's getting involved. And one of the things that, he decides, well, we're going to go around the room and everybody say where you're from. Well, this guy would stand up. Well, I'm from Unilever, and we make this much ice cream every year, and I've come here to learn a little bit more. I'm from Nestle's, and we do this and we do that. And I'm going like, what in the heck am I going to say? So they finally get to me, and I said, well, my name is Carl Chaney, and I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky. And without my cows, none of you all have a job. Nobody said a word. And then somebody started applauding. And so then I felt a little bit more comfortable and got to know a bunch of people and really learned about making the ice cream and some little things that maybe that I wouldn't have known from other places. And when we came home, Debra and I felt like that we were in a place where we could do a good job making ice cream.
Yeah.
Now, we weren't going to be able to use our milk at the beginning. We were going to have to buy a mix just like everybody else does. But, we could really pay attention to details and really put out a good product. And that's what we did.
Yeah, and you do. And, ice cream's the best. It is the best.
Well, I think you are exactly right. Debra and I, at the beginning, we made all the ice cream. And now, for probably the last 12, 14 years, employed people to help us.
Yeah.
That follow our recipes and do the things. And I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I think our ice cream is extremely fantastic because
it's premium.
For the last 3 years, and there's a reason for that, Jim. For the last 3 years, we have sent our ice cream off to the Los Angeles International Dairy Competition. It's an international competition. And for the last 3 years, we've had 2 gold medals each year.
That's awesome.
And our chocolate milk received 100 out of 100 points 3 years ago and won the gold medal. This year, the 2 ice creams we sent off was cookie butter and mint chocolate chip. Well, cookie butter won its class, was top in class, and the mint chocolate chip also won a gold medal. So we do that. You know, it's just not to be able to say, hey, look what I won. It's like, I want feedback. Yeah. I want to know, okay, well, what did you not like about, mint chocolate chip only got 92 points. Well, it got a gold medal. What did you not like about it?
Yeah, where's those 8 points?
Where's those 8 points that I wanted? And so the reason is, I think, that we're so successful is that most ice creams that you consume are 14% butterfat ice creams because that's what's commercially available. Now, there are some 16s, but they're hard to come by. I know of people that do have 16%. Well, that's what we decided to have, is a 16. So we take the milk, our cream, we add non-fat dry milk, we add sugar, and then right now, here we end of May, and we're buying about $4,000 worth of cream every week to produce about 500 gallons of ice cream mix. Now, we get that, we take it up to the dairy barn, and that 500 gallons of ice cream mix will make about 1,000 gallons of ice cream. Okay. And that's what we're doing every week right now.
So you're making 1,000 gallons of ice cream a week?
Yep.
Wow. That's a lot of ice cream.
That's a lot of ice cream. Just think, when we first started in 2004, for the whole year, we made about 4,000 gallons of ice cream. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how do you even improve upon? How do you go above that? And now, we've been last year we made over 30,000 gallons of ice cream.
Yeah, you've far surpassed that 4,000.
That's in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, so, when you started in 2004, how many employees did you have?
Two. Well,
and the kids.
There was a joke. There was a joke at the farm because I told Debra, I said, well, here's what we're going to do. I got these ideas, but sometimes I have to admit they're not the greatest ideas. But anyway, I told Debra, I said, we'll have an area for you, because Debra was a seamstress. Mm-hmm. Debra did a lot of sewing. And I said, we'll have a room for you to do your sewing. And if we have any customers, then you can just come out and wait on them, and I'll scoop the ice cream. And she looked at me like I had lost my freaking mind. And I'm like, I think it'll work that way. Well, of course, she went on and put out an ad in the College Heights Herald for help.
Yeah.
And so I think at the beginning we probably had around 12 to 15 employees. Now we've got over 50 at the dairy barn. And then there's about 7 or 8 at the processing plant where we process milk on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And then Dory, my niece, and I usually have 1 or 2 other people that help us at the farm.
Yeah. So again, not only are you producing great ice cream, you're producing jobs and growing the economy here in South Central Kentucky.
Yes, and I look, every time I pay taxes, I think about that.
We all do.
I'll tell you what, is that not crazy how much, and then the thing about it is we've had to improve our jobs for people.
Yeah.
Because, now we're getting bigger. And so, everybody was like, well, this is a great starting job. Then I'm going to go get a real job. Well, we got to the point to where these people we need to keep in them.
Yeah. You need them to think of that as a real job.
Exactly. And they have.
Yeah.
And then we've hired some other people. We hired Christian Lucas about a year and a half ago. Christian is doing a fantastic job.
Lives around the corner from us.
Lives around the corner from you. And we've hired on some other people that have really helping us. Now we've just got to implement and do a good job.
So talk about distribution a little bit. Where's Chaney ice cream, Chaney milk, Chaney products? Because I'm seeing your trucks now. I'm not seeing that you pulling a trailer around. I mean, I still see that.
Absolutely.
But now I'm seeing trucks that are bringing products to stores. and to other places. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the ice cream is there's not as much distribution. We've been in talks with a few stores that are interested in us having ice cream at their stores, and we've kind of pushed back on it because until we got this new area done where you can actually watch the ice cream being made, until we got that done, I didn't know if we could handle what might come down the road. So we've there's a very few places that we deliver ice cream to. One of them is Mammoth Cave because they usually order so much ice cream.
That's where I've seen the truck.
That's where you saw the truck. And so we take our ice cream there, and then there's a Country View Creamery over in Trenton, Kentucky. They go through a lot of ice cream, and so places. County? Yeah, it is. Yeah, You're exactly right. Yeah, You're exactly right.
That's Amy Bingham territory.
Oh, is it really? Yeah. Well, I just delivered last Wednesday. I delivered about 100 tubs of ice cream and about 200 quarts over there. The ice cream, most of the people, we try to get them to pick it up because we just can't do everything.
Right.
Now, the milk is a different story. We process milk on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Monday, we process whole milk and chocolate milk. This last week, we did almost 12,000 pounds of chocolate milk. And then Houchins will...
What 12,000 pounds equates to how many cartons of milk?
A bunch.
Okay.
Jim, I don't know. Somebody with a calculator, figure that up real quick. But we're probably doing, on Mondays, 1,200 to 1,500 gallons of whole milk. And we're doing, like I said, about 12,000 pounds. There's 8.6 pounds to the gallon. So that's almost 1,400 gallons of milk a week if it all went into gallons. But we're doing about 3,000 chugs every week. We're using a bunch of quarts.
What's a chug?
a chug is about 14 ounces.
Okay.
And then a quart.
A single serving.
A single serving. And then a gallon is 8.6 pounds.
Right.
So how much is a half gallon there, Big Jim?
It'd be 4.3.
Thank you very much. All righty. We got this going now. And then the quarts, of course, is about half of that.
Okay.
So
2.1.5.
There you go. So we're doing all of that. And then, as I said, Houchins picks up milk on Monday evening and Wednesday evening. And then they take it to the distribution point. And then starting on Tuesday and Thursday, that milk is distributed. On Wednesday morning now, about 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, Kroger sends a truck. Now, it goes by Fish Market is the distributor for it. Mm-hmm. So Fish Market will come in and they'll pick up enough milk for around 40 Kroger stores throughout the state of Kentucky.
Wow.
And then it goes out. And then Creation Garden, now that's a distributor of different food products, milk being one of them. And they're mainly, like restaurants, hospitals, and stuff like that. And there's about a 4 to 5 state area where our milk goes that we don't even know where it all goes. But they'll pick up milk. They come at 5 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and they come at 5 o'clock on Friday morning. And then we load them up for them to take to the distribution points in Louisville, and then they send it out.
That's awesome. I mean,
that's tiresome.
Well, that's what keeps you young.
I hope so.
So, and I know this is, 21, 22 years that you've been in operations. Did you ever envision?
Oh, Jim, come on.
Did you ever that day at Penn State going, one of these days my milk's going to be in 4 states?
Well, Jim, we couldn't do it without fantastic people. Of course, my daughter Elizabeth is in charge of the milk processing, but she has such good help.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to start naming them because if I do, I'll forget somebody.
Yeah, you'll get in trouble.
But we have got a great processing crew. And the thing about it is what people need to realize is it is so regulated. Mm-hmm. We have inspectors that are checking us all the time. And you know what? That's great.
Yeah.
Because we have to be sure when we're selling a perishable product like we do, we have to make sure that when it goes out of there, that it's going to last the 21 days or as close to the 21 days that we can get it. Now, people sometimes don't understand that, if you get a gallon of milk and you go put it in the car and you run around and do a couple of chores, you have lowered the number of days that milk is going to last.
Yeah.
If you keep it at 37 degrees and you keep it at 37 degrees, that milk should last about 20 to 21 days.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we've even had some of our milk last 24, 25 days. That's been good. But you have to realize that milk has to be taken care of. You have to keep the temperature where it needs to be. It's kind of like ice cream.
Yeah.
When the ice cream comes out of the ice cream machine, it comes out of the machine at a 23 degrees. It's kind of like a soft serve. We catch it in a bucket, and then we put it in our flash freezer. Our flash freezer is 20 degrees below zero. Ooh. And the reason that we want that is because the quicker you freeze the ice cream, the smaller the ice crystals. The smaller the ice crystals, the better the texture. The better the texture, the better the taste.
There you go.
Boom.
That Penn State education
that's
coming out.
That's my Penn State education.
I know there's been challenges along the way. Talk about some of the biggest challenges you've had to face, other than help.
Well, I mean, Jim, just the growth, and I mean, like Debra says, we didn't know what the heck we were doing.
Yeah.
Well, the reason the dairy barn came around was because I'll be honest with you, I'm fourth generation. My dad, my grandfather, they took it through the Depression. I didn't want to be the idiot that lost it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the one that now I don't have it for my kids or for my grandkids. And so Debra and I, we really felt some pressure about what do we need to do to make sure, because I'll be honest with you, just milking cows is difficult to make a living with, because usually the price, we don't have any input. Most dairy farmers have no input into the price they receive for their product. Mm-hmm. They sell it for whatever they can get for it. And it's just like my brother-in-law about 5 years ago, John and Ann Calmy. He was milking cows up yonder, and they came through and says, we don't need your milk anymore. So boom. That's all the notice he got. And they said, like, in a week or two, we're going to quit picking up your milk. And so Debra and I were like, what are we going to do? We can't let that happen.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that Debra and I went. We wanted to process milk at the beginning, but then we went to all these different states to learn, and all these folks that were making ice cream, and they were like, no, you want to start with the ice cream. Yeah. That will really do better than starting with milk. And that's what we did. And then we started the milk in 2019.
There you go. You do so much for the community. You and Debra both. You and your whole family. I mean, you guys are great. I know you're always contributing to different charitable events. You're always having an event. There seems like there's always something going on at Chaney's Dairy Barn. Talk a little bit about your community involvement. And I know you don't like to brag and talk about the things that you do to give back to the community, but good golly, Miss Molly, there is always something happening out there, and you do it practically for nothing.
Yeah, but Jim, there's so many people that do so much stuff for our community, and I mean, it's just, as Debra says, ice cream makes you smile. Yeah, and so, and the thing about it is, if we can take a trailer someplace and give away some free ice cream, and you see people with this big smile on their face, what's not to love about that?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I really believe that there's so many more people do more than we do. And it's just continue to looking out. And if people have a thought and want to do something, I actually had a guy the other night that stopped me that we actually came together for a reason that my alarm went off at the dairy barn. And so this guy, he's with the sheriff's office, and that we were talking, and we'd actually done a benefit for his daughter. And he mentioned that, and I'm like, man, I didn't even remember that. Yeah. But Jim, we all need to try to reach out and see what we can do to help other people, because I tell you what, there's a lot of hurting going on in this world. And, if we can do a few things to help make everybody's life easier, well, hey, so be it.
Yeah, and ice cream does make people smile.
Yeah, ice cream makes people smile. You're exactly right, sir.
And the great, I know people can show up there at the dairy barn and get on that playground and they might not even buy any ice cream, but the kids are having a big time out there, and then you have the corn maze later this year and
ice cream in a movie.
Yeah. I love ice cream in a movie.
Oh man, that is so much. I mean, that is so cool to see all those people out there just sitting there.
Yeah.
And maybe we can throw in a little bit about agriculture every now and then.
Yeah,
you get a nice audience, and you got the cows back out in the field.
Yeah.
And then and then all the 4Ks, 5Ks. That's so much fun. having people come out there and, at the Glimmer Gallop, with Tony Rose and Stuff the Bus 5K. And then he incorporates the Glimmer Gallop. Of course, Glimmer was one of our really great tour cows that passed away. And so that's just, we're having a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, you are.
We are. We're having a blast.
And if you're not having fun, then why do it?
Exactly right. Because I tell you what, there's a lot of hard work involved. I mean, we try to get started about 5 o'clock most mornings. And then, like right now, I think this week we'll just about finish up our farm tours. But then I looked and I got a whole bunch more coming up. So then you have, like your summer programs where they start to come out. But we have never had as many tours as we have had. We have a lady in the office, Wendy, that helps schedule all of those. And I mean, we have had so many. And it's like we had 2 today. We had 2 the day before. We've either got 2 to 3 or 4 tours almost every day until school's out. But now, like I say, there's more tours coming.
Yeah, and I know, knowing you for as long as I have, you try to be on as many of those tours as possible too.
I had somebody tell me one time, a lady that I have I'm always have been impressed with, and she's like, Carl, you need to get somebody else to do those so that you don't have to do them all. And I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's there. Dory is the person that is there. You're talking to someone that actually milks the cows, feeds the cows, so on and so forth, takes care of the calves. And the thing about it is I think when we talk, you might not agree with me, but you at least know that I've got quite a bit of experience with it.
Yeah.
When you ask somebody else that's been there for 3 weeks, it's just not the same. So Dory and I try to do as many of them as we can now. Maggie, the young lady that helps us, she's doing some. And so that's an important part of what we do.
So your grandfather started the dairy farm
my dad started in 1940.
1940.
My great-great-grandfather, they started there in 1888.
I was going to say, y'all been there since the 1800s.
1888, absolutely.
That's amazing.
That's a long time.
It is a long
Not
time.
me personally.
Yeah.
I might look it.
I figured that much. Couple other things I want to talk about is you've received national attention in TV shows.
Yes, we have. Been lucky.
Chaney's. Oh,
absolutely.
Justified.
Wasn't that cool?
It was cool.
Oh man, that was so cool when they called.
Yeah.
And I always thought, oh no, another one of those dadgone prank calls, And so the guy was like, I mean, this was like a year before it ever was showed.
Yeah.
And it was the guy that was the prop guy, and he said, this show takes place in Eastern Kentucky.
Right.
And he says, we want a Kentucky ice cream. Well, we had just been listed on USA Today's top ice creams in the United States. And he said, we want to use your ice cream. I'm like, yeah, right. How much is this going to cost me?
Yeah. And
he's like, no, it won't cost you a penny. And so we communicated backwards and forth. And so we had to send them some stuff. And then when it showed, oh my gosh. I mean, seeing Timothy Oliphant going, well, why are we coming here for ice cream? He said, because these folks, he reaches down and he pulls out a half pint and he goes, these folks have Chaney. I'm like, oh, man.
Best product placement ever.
Oh,
in a TV
my
show.
gosh. It was so cool. But a little side story to that is we always did a lot with the Beaver in our early advertising. Yeah. And Scooter.
Yeah,
Scooter and Mila.
Great guy.
Great guy. And we were up at the dairy barn doing something that next morning. And somebody calls in and he goes like, did you see Chaney's was on Justified last night? And, Scooter's like, I go to bed at 7 o'clock every night. What's that? And so they explained it to him, and he goes like, I'm going to have to call Carl Chaney. And so I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So it wasn't like 10 seconds later, my telephone rings. So I just bring it up. I go, this is Carl Chaney. I'm sorry, I'm not able to take your call right now. I'm busy doing interviews. If you want to call back, I'll try to catch you whenever I can. And Scooter goes, Carl, you're live. I'm like, oh, Lord. And so just kind of explained it to him what happened. But it was so cool. And, that's another, some of you talk about the good things is the good people that we've met. Scooter Davis, not an amazing guy.
Yeah. Great guy. God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
You may or may not know, but he passed away. I don't know, about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years ago. But Scooter was just he was so great helping us. And but there's been so many other people that have that I again, you don't want to get into names that have been supportive and helpful. And Jim, you've been a help. I mean, remember the first time you came out there, and I forgot what you asked me. What did you ask me?
I asked for your vote.
You did. You did. And what did I say?
Nope. Not that time.
Not that time. But I voted for you after that. I sure did every time.
And that's the good thing about you, Carl, is you're honest and you're straightforward, and even though you told me no, we became friends.
Absolutely, we did.
And I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
Debra voted for me though.
I don't know. Debra votes for who she wants to. I don't. Voting is something personal.
That's exactly right. And then, what was it last year, the year before last, you were on this other TV show where they...
Oh, yeah. What's the name of it? What's the guy? He's kind of popular. What's his name? Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri, yeah. He comes through with a bunch of families, I think.
Oh, my gosh. It was so crazy.
And I know it was top secret, too. You couldn't tell a soul.
I couldn't tell a soul.
And I know it was killing you.
It was... Well, I leaked a little out every now and then for people that did the farm tour. I'd mention it just a little bit.
You might want to watch
this time
channel
exactly
tomorrow night.
And then the cool part about that was there was this young lady that called me from the show, and I told somebody this story just a few minutes ago, and I was like, and they said Guy Fieri. I'm a dairy farmer. Hell, I don't know who Guy Fieri was.
You mean and then diners, drive-ins, and
dives?
Yeah.
No, now you said diners, drive-in, and dives, and I knew that, but I didn't figure the name, know. And so at the very beginning, and of course then I had to move to I'm his biggest fan in the whole wide world to get him there.
Heck yeah.
And because they were looking at different places in Bowling Green where to go, and I really believe this young lady is the reason that they came to our place, because she had a idea to do an ice cream competition, and that she thought that it would go over really great. And so that's exactly what happened. And the morning, it was on a Tuesday is when all the film crew came, and they filmed all day long. And then on Wednesday, here they come. And, I promise you, it's like these 5 big black SUVs come pulling in.
Yeah.
And the guys are running around, with these things in there. It's going like, all right, ETA, 4.5 minutes. Yeah. And, and I'm going like, it's the President of the United States. And so he pulled in, and it was a lot of fun. He didn't go to the farm. He worked around at the up at the ice cream store, and then he had to leave. Mm-hmm. But then everybody else went down to the farm. And what tickled Debra and I and our family so much was they did so much about the agricultural aspect of the farm.
Yeah.
And it was just wonderful. And, man, we have had so many people that have come that say, hey, we saw you on the Guy Fieri show, and the kids wanted to come see the cows.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. But another thing, that same day that he was there, Abby Hornacek was there. From Fox Nation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she was there. And it was so funny, the difference. You're right. We had to keep it secret on Guy Fieri. And they're like, no, you can't tell nobody. We don't even want picture taken. Everybody got to keep
Fox
their picture.
News is right here.
I'm like, come on. And so, but Abby was like, I don't care. Anybody can come watch or do anything they want to. Abby wanted to milk a cow by hand. So we set it up for her to milk a cow. She did an amazing story at the dairy barn, just a beautiful young lady. And I said, your dad was a good basketball player, wasn't he? Jeff Hornacek, who played for the Jazz. And she said, yeah, Dad's a really good ball player. And I said, did you get any of his talent? And she's like, yeah, I'm pretty good. And I said, I got a basketball goal over here. Let's go check it out. And so we went over there, and we shot for about 5 minutes. We didn't have long, but we shot for about 5 minutes. She didn't hit a dadgone shot except one. Well, when they put that on the film, what do you think they showed?
Yeah,
her shooting one time, and she hit it.
And you missing, probably.
And I missed it. And I'm like, I cooked her. But anyway, we've been very
That's like
blessed.
Paul Harvey and the rest of the story.
Right? Well, now you know the rest of the story.
Well, Carl, it's been a treat having you on here. Before I let you go, top 3 favorite ice creams.
Of mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one, strawberry.
Okay.
Now, I've always loved strawberry. I remember, man, I loved strawberry milkshakes when I was a kid. And just a good strawberry milkshake. But now I tell you what, chocolate milkshakes, chocolate ice cream with our chocolate milk. It makes it so rich and thick. It is unbelievable. You just think. Tell me about it. You got a 16% butterfat ice cream. You've got a 4.5% butterfat milk. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, there's nothing like it. And then the other would be Cow Tracks. I love Cow Tracks. Snickers and caramel. Oh, my gosh.
Can't go wrong.
Cannot go wrong with that.
What about you ever thought about doing strawberry milk?
We're doing strawberry milk.
Are you?
It's in the stores right now.
Oh.
Yeah. We do it in the spring, and we only do it for the spring, and I think we've only got one more week going. Now, in just a little, I don't know when this is coming out, but first part of June, so June is Dairy Month, Houchins is putting on a promotion on quarts of chocolate milk and strawberry milk. So
there you go.
You heard it here first.
It's fantastic. And, of course, I'm a vanilla guy. I just like plain old vanilla ice cream. And
don't just say plain old vanilla ice cream.
I'm sorry.
My vanilla ice cream won the gold medal and got 100 out of 100 points. Don't say just.
No, I like gold medal vanilla ice cream.
There you go. There you go. Now we got it.
Carl Chaney, thanks for being on the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me. I hope it doesn't ruin your show.
Thanks again to Carl Chaney from Chaney's Dairy Barn for joining us this week on the DeCesare Group Podcast, and thank you for checking us out. Hey, if you like what you hear, please share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review, and share your feedback, too. You can also follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Silky Economic Development and Business News, by going to our website, thedecesaregroup.com. The DeCesare Group Podcast is produced by the DeCesare Group, a public relations and consulting firm based in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Our engineer and ice cream lover is Justin DeCesare, with content contributions from Brooke Mattingly, and the DeCesare Podcast is written and produced and researched by the chocolate-loving ice cream lady, Amy DeCesare. I'm Jim DeCesare, inviting you to join us again next time for the DeCesare Group Podcast.